I've sort of assumed that one of the questions many people will have coming into this webinar is, to what degree will XML help my journal's program's discoverability? So we're going to talk about that. One of the things that XML can do is help make connections more clear. So in the same way in this image, the cable ports are standardized and they fit together. XML makes very explicit what kind of information is in an article. So indexes, abstracting services, and new computer augmented scholarship can find those connections quickly and easily across millions or billions of records, and surface those to researchers. I've often talked about thinking about well-tagged XML, but also different persistent identifiers. So things like author's ORCID ID, the research institution's ROR, thinking about the DOI of the article, thinking about funding. There's all these different pieces of information we can tag. These are all hooks that researchers can plug into, or hang on if I want to maintain a hook analogy, in order for scholarship to be discovered and surfaced and used. XML can make those hooks much stronger. It can make them a lot more usable and, again, interoperable long-term.
There are kind of two areas here. One is the metadata, and then the other being the full text. So when we talk about metadata, we're talking about data about the article, not the narrative of the article itself. So data about the article, title, abstract, DOI, keywords, this kind of stuff, right? The full text then being the actual article that you would read. So paragraphs, tables, figures, this kind of stuff, that's the actual article. All right, why does this distinction matter? Because it takes creating XML just with metadata is much, much easier, significantly easier than creating full text XML. And depending on your use cases, you want to keep that in mind, because you might be able to get a lot of what you need just by creating XML with metadata alone and not worrying about the full text. And as you say here, many indexes really don't even care about the full text. They just want the metadata. So that is a very important distinction to keep in mind as you're evaluating what the needs of your use, needs of your use case and your program.
And we're going to go through sort of 5 examples of ways people make XML. And I like to highlight these are really across a continuum, meaning these are going to range from do it yourself all the way to have someone else do it. So in-source, outsource, and there's stuff in the middle. All publishing programs are going to have constraints. Many of us will have constraints on both of these, time and money. But thinking about what's going to help your program, because if you went through that list and said, we want to create XML for preservation or for an index, or it is an industry standard and we want to have the metadata, not just going into Crossref or an index, but we want to have it as part of our professional sort of publishing standard, the quality of our publishing program. And you've said, yes, I want to do it. As you look at how to do it, again, just keep that in mind. Generally, there's going to be a trade-off between time and money, depending on what the solutions look like.